And we're live. Good evening, Shifties. Welcome back. Welcome back to Shift the Journey. I'm your host, Tito Amogus. Been a while. I don't even remember the last time. I felt like all day I was like, man, something's happening today. What's happening today? It's been like 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks since I had my last episode. But today our guest is Jeremy McCormick. Jeremy is a graduate of Nashville Software School, or NSS.
Mm-hmm.
You guys hear me talk about it all the time. He was formerly a drummer. What kind of music did you play?
I did a lot of country music and a lot of they call it CCM, Christian Contemporary.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah, for some reason in my head, I was thinking you were like emo drummer, Jeremy. I don't know.
No, I listened to a lot of it. I couldn't play it.
Okay. All right.
I listened to a lot of it.
But anyway, we're going to talk about Jeremy and his journey through professional music to into the data field. Pretty crazy transition. I started this show. You guys, maybe you haven't seen the show yet. I have a lot of new followers that I picked up in the last month. If you haven't seen the show yet, this is where I get to bring a guest on and we can talk about their career journey. I myself am a career shifter. I started out my, I don't know what you call it. I started out my being a productive member of society by joining the Air Force when I was like 3 months shy of 21st birthday, right? So I was 20 years old. I'd gone to college, a couple places, a couple countries, and decided, you know what, school's not for me right now. I'm going to go join the Air Force. Then I joined the Air Force and I was in school, like training for like 9 months. And my mom said, you know what, you get what you deserve. And so, but I did a lot of different things in the Air Force and I stayed in for 20 years. And at the ripe old age of 40 years old, I started my career in analytics. And so at that time, I didn't have a big network. I didn't know a lot of people, and I had just moved to Nashville. And so some of the things that I want to impart to you guys out there is I want to let you guys know that you're not alone. If you're considering a career change, maybe you're in the military now, maybe you are in the middle of your transition to the civilian world, maybe you're in a field that you don't like and you want to go into something else. Maybe you don't know where to go, who to talk to. Connect with me and I'll find somebody for you. I'll help you find somebody. And we can talk about, career journeys. But today is not about me. Today is about Jeremy. All right. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from, I like to say, the ugly part of Southern California, a place called Palmdale, California, or the Antelope Valley. It's about, you'd probably know it. It's about an hour northeast of Los Angeles, Edwards Air Force Base. If you're in the Air Force, that's right around the corner from my house. So
for some reason, I thought you were from the South. I did not know that you were from not far from where I'm from. I'm from Riverside, California.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, the ugly part. Yeah. No, I've been to Palmdale. I went to I didn't go to Edwards. I went to LA County Raceway. There was some
well, that's
import drag
from my house.
Import drag races. Yeah, watching back in the day, it's turbocharged.
It's leveled.
What?
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nuts, man. So what were you like always like into music? When did you know that you wanted to join some kind of band and go pro?
I mean, honestly, it was like my dad like watching music videos of like Jump. I remember Jump as a kid, Van Halen. And I was like, I kind of knew. I was like, I want to be a drummer, and was, I guess, hell-bent on being a drummer.
Yeah.
I don't know what. So from there, like, I mean, I did like I was a band kid for a long time from middle school all the way up through high school of drumline or concert percussion or whatever.
Oh, nice.
But it just kind of was kind of all I knew, I guess, or like just committed a lot of time to, where I could have been like riding bikes or something. I feel like I was always drumming.
So, did you feel like, or did you, what was I gonna say? Oh, no, no. How did you get in with like people that, where you were encouraged enough to go, hey, I'm gonna go pro? Were you like playing in a band that did well?
So I was very fortunate enough to my drumline instructor in high school was a professional musician. This is like in Los Angeles area, so there's a lot you kind of run into a lot of professional musicians. But he was on the road with, if you remember the old '90s R&B band, he was on the road for All for One,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he's played with like Ricky Martin at the Grammys,
Oh,
and
wow.
he was the last big gig was he was with Michael Bolton and did a run with Gladys Knight. So he was like
Oh,
a
wow.
heavy cat in the music biz.
Yeah.
And he just kind of encouraged me. He's like, "Yeah, I think you're not terrible." So,
So, what age do you decide? Hey, I'm going to move out to Nashville?
well, I was in college. It's funny as I failed out of college for music school, which it's a blessing in disguise right now. But I failed a class, and I dropped out when I was a junior, my first run at college, and it was like history of Western music, and I don't mean to poop on music majors. I think that it's good to be well rounded. I wanted to like tour and be in studios and just play drums, and it was like one. I failed this class that was basically like, okay, like we're gonna play this piece for you, and you have to tell me whether it's Bach or Beethoven. And then
Oh,
in my head, I was just like, how is this applicable? I was also young and 20. I mean, it could. I mean, I think there's good knowledge in it, but it was like I'm getting into debt for this that has no applicable value in my life. I'm trying to drum on stage or in
yeah.
the studio. So I failed
Yeah.
that class and I said, well, I can't drop out of college because my parents would annihilate me. So I'm gonna move away and pick the next closest music city.
That's funny. That's really funny. So, were you already connected with a band when you moved there, or did you like network?
No, so it was. I mean, there's a few people like kind of connect, but it was kind of just like a grassroots kind of thing of just. I mean, similar like job hunting now. It's like networking. Like I think I
Yeah.
picked up a lot of transferable skills from networking from music world into finding a job.
Yeah.
But it was just, I mean, that's going to clubs every night. Like, hey, I just moved to town or whatever. Go into a club and like, hey, can I sit in and play a song, another song, and kind of building relationships with that and making sure that you're not just a hack. Like, oh, this guy can carry a tune or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Going to the writers around, meeting songwriters. So there's a lot of networking in the
Oh,
until
wow.
you build your network
Oh, yeah.
that way, and
Oh,
then you can
yeah.
kind of somewhat rely on it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think one of the things, in like career transitions, one of the things that people are often scared about, like I have these conversations with people at the NSS roundtable, the analytics roundtable. People are scared of networking. It's like, how do I do it? What do I do? And I totally forgot. Like, I have friends who are, in the music business, right? Having lived in Nashville for a while, and they talk about these things too that you just talked about, and it's like, oh yeah, these are definitely that is networking, like
Yeah,
networking 101, right there. You got
yeah,
it. So that's yeah, and I tell people all the time, one of the most important things you can do in any kind of, whether you're transitioning in your career or you're just going to stay in that career, network.
yeah,
Networking is great.
yeah.
So,
I mean, what was my percussion? The guy that taught my drum line, Trey Balfour's his name, but I mean, still sticks with me today. Is like it's not what you know, it's who you know. Like a lot
mhm.
of applicable things.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely. So, how long were you a drummer?
I mean, I did it professionally for a decade. So I
Yeah.
started off teaching. I mean, my main thing was studio drums,
Okay.
which there was a lot of correlation between the data world and that. That's why I was really fascinated with the data world. But I started off performing, like in touring around. Got married and had kids, and I'm like, I didn't want to be gone for every other weekend and like
Yeah.
miss important events. Not to say it's not possible. I didn't see my life. I didn't want that for my life.
Mhm.
Um, and then I started actually in education, a drum school, essentially. I running that out of my house. So I was teaching. I had contracts with public schools. So I would teach like 6 ensembles with 3 public schools, and then had like 30 private lessons. So I was doing that for probably 5 years. So I was dealing with like 100 kids a week, and it was exhausting. Yeah, I was.
Wow. What age group?
A lot of middle school.
Oh, yeah, I got tired just thinking of middle school kids. Oh my gosh, that's nuts. Yeah, I actually know. I started thinking of like the drummers that I know in Nashville, and they're like, they teach drums. That's what they do. When you guys got like well, at least 2 of them have like these online things, Patreon or whatever.
Yeah,
and because the shows are not always happening, it's like it's very inconsistent, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to wear multiple hats. I mean, honestly, the teaching thing in my music journey was the most consistent one out of like praying for a phone call for a gig or a session or something. But I was able, because I started a drum school, I had a recording equipment too. So like in the middle of my lessons, if someone canceled, I would track for someone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's kind of how I balanced that income.
Wow.
I mean, mainly it was teaching, but it was like, especially in Nashville, it's very quick base. Like, hey, I need the song. Can you cut it within? I need the tracks by tomorrow. Oh, that's fine. Like Johnny canceled. All right, here you go. Emailed.
That's so funny for like people who don't know anything about the music business. That must be something that's like, wow, that's not anything that I ever thought it would be.
Yeah, it is like, I mean, I thought I was going to just play on records, and like, nope, like those days are kind of, I mean, the music industry is kind of down trajectory of trying to make a living. I guess it feels like playing the lottery for a living now.
Oh yeah. I bet it felt like that in Nashville with all those people. Like you could go to any restaurant and your server would be like, oh yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter. Or like, oh, I'm here, I play drums, blah, blah, blah.
And they're all good. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's just they're all good.
Yeah. Yeah. I had when I worked at a company in Nashville, they had a what do they call it? It was like the company Got Talent, right? It was a talent show. And it was right around Christmas time. And some of these people, it was an insurance company, and some of these people, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like handling claims all day, but I didn't know you had a voice like that. Or like somebody who's like playing guitar or something. I'm like, what? Where does this stuff come from? But it's like Transformers, robots in disguise. Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows.
Yeah, especially that city, man. There's a ton of talented musicians and songwriters in that city.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you were in Nashville as a drummer for 10 years. What was the catalyst that made you want to change your career?
COVID.
Yeah. And it was a lot for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it was COVID. It was and just kind of like well, I mean, I guess like, so I had this drum school. COVID happened, and I lost a third of my income overnight because all the contracts with the schools went bye-bye because the schools weren't meeting. And so I ended up, I had to make ends meet. So I got a job at Costco, which is a fantastic employer. But, all my life I was fearful, like, I want to work for myself and I want to do this. And then actually I was like, okay, I need to get a job. And I was like, well, benefits is kind of nice. Like this is not that bad of a gig, and like, like I can clock out, go home, and then I have the rest of my day to do what other things. I was like, so that kind of was like a baby step of like this kind of thing I portrayed of like, work for yourself. And, I think that's great too, if you can. But I mean, my perspective was flipped on its head because of COVID. I was like, man, like this is really, really a good thing, especially for me and my family with young kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, so my wife, her job went fully remote. She's a counselor. But it was that kind of like that. I was like, well, there's no reason for us to be in Nashville anymore. If I'm trying to get out of music. And then actually like working at Costco, I was like, okay, I know Costco is not the main thing, but I know the music full-time in my life chapter needs to be done. I was like, I've done it for 10 years. Kind of want something else. Like, I feel like I've capped out on it. And just kind of got tired. I mean, you have to grind out to keep on, like, to keep it sustainable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the catalyst of something needs to change.
So, what made you pursue data?
It was so I knew, I mean, Costco was great. I knew I didn't want to be there forever. And there was a lot of problem solving. I was a merchandiser. So like companies paid us to move product around. If you've been to Costco, they always move product around for you to get like a treasure island experience. Like, oh, look what I found, or a scavenger hunt. Yeah. So anyways, but you would have to do all these moves every morning, and I never had enough room. And so I was problem solving. Okay, like, let me do this. And I enjoy the problem solving part. And I was like, okay, I don't have a bachelor's degree. What are some fields that I can do that don't have a bachelor's degree? And I kind of stumbled into tech. And then someone mentioned, like, I couldn't remember who it was. He's like, oh, you should look into like business intelligence, data stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what's that? And then I took a Google Analytics course, the Google one, the Coursera one. It's a very popular one.
Yeah.
And after I completed it, I mean, it was like learn SQL and Excel. We'll start off Excel and SQL, and then they do R in that program. But after I finished it, I was like, I can see myself doing this like 8 hours a day of just kind of the SQL stuff I really enjoyed, and the coding. I'm a like heavy Python user now, but I really enjoyed it. And honestly, doing that project kind of reminded me of the record making process. Like, you have all this raw data, all this raw audio. And when I was engineering my own drum sessions, I would edit my drums. Okay, line them up and mix it down. Okay, what sounds good or whatever. And that's like, I feel like manipulating, cleaning your data to tell the story. And that's that's like mixing audio. And then like releasing it to radio is like, building your product with maybe an Excel report, maybe a dashboard, or maybe an app or something. I was like, gosh, like, this reminds me very much of the record making process.
Wow.
So that's why I kind of felt drawn to, like, I'm still creative, like, and I'm solving problems, which I didn't think I would enjoy, but I was doing that work all the time. And I was like, man, I think this makes sense. And then actually, speaking of Nashville Software School, I had a lot of buddies that transitioned out of music into tech through Nashville Software School.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually I did Nashville Software School, not in Nashville. I did it in Mississippi where we moved.
Yeah.
But I just knew the program.
Yeah, it's nuts because I've talked to a lot of people that have gone through NSS, and I want to say, like, during the pandemic, man, there were so many people who were like, oh yeah, I work in hospitality, or worked in hospitality, like worked in hotels, and then all the hotels like went to skeleton crews, and then other people were like, oh yeah, I was in music, and then there's no concerts, so then there's no work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you had a band playing somewhere, you have like 50% of the audience or whatever, because your capacity was like, drawn way down because like we weren't allowed to gather. So it was like a lot of things that made people move on into something else. And it's really interesting hearing how you compared the two, like data and making a record. That's really interesting, actually. And so you decided in the middle of the pandemic, was it before you went to NSS that you decided to move to Mississippi?
Yes, it was before, because it was, well, we were trying to buy in Nashville for a while, but all the coastal people were coming out there, and just like, the market was going bananas.
Yeah,
but I know that too, because working at Costco, everyone transferred in from California at that
Oh
Costco in Brentwood,
man.
Tennessee. So
It's so crazy. It's so crazy because like we moved from Nashville to Mississippi in 2020, and we were living in a house in Tennessee that we could barely afford, like barely afford to keep it, right?
yeah.
And then we came down here and bought a house for like 50,000 less that's like new. And it's like, what
Mhm.
the heck, but it's
Yeah.
the cost of living is crazy. The difference is
Mhm.
nuts. Where we lived in Robertson County, and we were close to Pleasant View.
Yeah.
And like Pleasant View, sales tax was 9.75, and Robertson County was like 9.25. I thought Nashville was 9.25. I can't even I can't even fathom that now because like here,
Oh,
7%.
yeah. I mean, your
I
dollar
could,
goes so much farther out
oh
here.
yeah, oh yeah. It was
But
it
that's
was
the thing, though,
funny.
too. It's like everywhere else you look at, now everything's more expensive because
Yeah,
we're like in the cheapest area too.
yeah,
It's just like I
yep,
don't want to move there; it's too expensive.
yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. So like, you went through the boot camp. Tell me about the boot camp. Was it something that you did like in off hours, or was it something that you did like
So,
full time?
I did NSS offered a part time boot camp program, and that
Hmm.
was Tuesday and Thursday nights in the evenings, and then Saturdays mainly all day. It was like 9 to 2 p.m.
Mm,
for 6 months. So that was for six
okay.
months, and they same kind of structure as the other, like the online course I did. It was like Excel, then a lot of SQL, then a lot of Python, and it's very project oriented. So you're working on like projects with a team. So
Yeah.
kind of like a real work situation.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense that it would be that
Yeah.
way because like knowledge without application is useless, right?
Yeah.
And so I have issue with like some of the training that I've done like not that I've had to do, but that I chose to do as I was like trying to do a career transition earlier on in my career. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this. And it's like knowing like learning all this stuff, but not really knowing what to do with it. And then getting to work and never using it at work. And then I just forgot it. I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So having a project based course, man, that's great. Cause yeah, that's like real life. That is my
Yeah.
life now. It's like
Yeah.
that's that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. So how is your like your job hunting? How did that go?
Well, I had a need. There's a fire under my butt to find a job. So since I did that Google Analytics course and then kind of went right into National Software School, I felt a little like confident of like, okay, I can kind of fill out a resume a little bit because I have these skills. Like I know a little bit of SQL or whatever. So I honestly started applying when I got into the program. Um,
Okay, yeah.
so and luckily, like I think the market out. I mean, I have a friend at church. He's like, specifically in central Mississippi, Jackson area where I'm living. Um, he was saying it was like it's kind of like a tech desert out here. If you have these skills, then you could be very valuable to organizations out here. But I say that because I was one of the first ones to get a job in my program while actually in the program at NSS. I found a job like the last month in my program. So
Wow.
but I utilized a lot of things. Like when I was working at Costco, they would interview you if you worked for the company. And
Oh,
so I would get reps under my belt for interviewing because that's a whole entirely different skill than just
oh yeah.
being technical.
Yeah.
So I would, and me knowing like their headquarters is in Washington or Seattle, Washington area. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm not going to move out there, but
Yeah.
they would interview me. I was like, well, if they're going to interview me, I can practice doing interviewing, and
Yeah.
get prepared for the questions they're going to ask me, whether behavioral or technical.
Mhm.
So by the time, I got other few job interviews during my time in that program. So I had reps of getting interviews. So just a matter of time to when my current job now that I have. I was kind of ready to roll in that interview, and they were
Yeah.
crazy enough to hire me.
Man, that's a really good perspective to use interviews as preparation for your interview that you're, that you're for the job that you believe that you're actually going to get, right? A lot of people, I would say, would shy away from that type of approach because it sucks to get rejected. Even if
Yeah,
you don't want the job, it sucks to get rejected,
yeah,
But the thing I like about, like, not that I like being rejected, but the thing I liked about being rejected in a
yeah,
couple instances is where I ask for feedback. I'm like, hey, what are the things that makes you believe that I'm not the right fit for this position, um, or maybe like the interview's over and ask for
yeah.
feedback. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I can absolutely change that. Other times it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, there are things that I can improve.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I feel like
interesting.
for me, because especially like given my work experience, it was all word of mouth is how I got my work, like
Yeah,
with music. So it's like I've never interviewed before, so it's just like I guess I need to work on this, work on that skill, or just get I don't know, not get caught with my pants down in an interview. So
oh
figure
yeah,
I'd get the reps.
oh yeah. I've completely bombed interviews, so that's not new to me, but it doesn't feel good. So are you still involved in music in any way?
I play at my church, and I played a few gigs around town. There's not, I mean, I had part of me is just tired of like I don't want to go out and like find gigs. I mean, I had an
Yeah.
opportunity. It was like this drummer was looking for a band, or this girl was looking for a drummer in uh, where I live in Jackson area, or I live in Madison, so suburb of Jackson.
Mhm.
But she's like, hey, we don't have any gigs lined up, and we rehearse at my house every Wednesday, and can you come and load your drums? I'm just like, no, I don't
No.
want to do that.
The answer is no.
I was like, if you have a gig, then like maybe like
Yeah.
I'll plan it out, but I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not going back to my high school band days of like,
Yeah.
let's play in our garage and
That's so funny. Like,
whatever.
can I? Yes. Will I? No.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I
Yeah.
do miss playing though, but I mean, I play at my church. I get that fill,
Yeah.
and then a few other things pop up in town. But I mean, I'm not actively. Honestly, I'm like so obsessed with trying to be a better engineer, data analyst, data engineer. So it's kind of like, what can I do cool in Python or whatever?
Yeah.
So I'm actually getting heavy into the data engineering, analytics engineering space, which I
Yeah.
very much enjoy.
Yeah. And then, like, as a family man, I understand that there's only so many hours in the day. And how
Mhm.
many of those hours am I working away from my family? So it's like, how many other hours am I going to volunteer to be away from my family?
Yeah, yeah.
It's you got to weigh the pros and cons. Sometimes it's just not
Hmm.
worth it. Especially, I
Yeah.
mean, if you got to load up and go play in somebody's garage. Come on,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, are you still connected to NSS?
I do. Yeah, I do the roundtables.
Yeah.
I,
How do you
yeah,
like that?
I do like that. I
Yeah.
like because it's just like, man, if like I'm a knucklehead and I kind of figured something out, so maybe I could help encourage another knucklehead. I guess.
Yeah, it's good. The reason why I asked that is because I think there are people, there are quite a few people out there who, like, have told me, like, oh, I want to, like, give back. I want to help people, but then they just don't know how to do it. I get emails all the time from the college I attended, like online college. I didn't actually live in southern New Hampshire, but I got a degree from there, but I get stuff from them all the time, and they're like asking for mentors. So like, if you went to school, whether it was like a boot camp or a traditional like brick and mortar or online school, whatever, I'm sure there are opportunities to mentor people. I love doing the data analytics roundtable too. I felt like last time I was on there, I was like, they put me in a room by myself, with no like just the students and then me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'll be talking forever. And it turns out I was talking forever, but it felt great to give free knowledge. Free
Yeah.
knowledge is great because
Yeah.
like when I went from military to civilian, I did, like I said, I only had like 13 people in my network, and like 5 or 10 of those people were related to me. And so there wasn't I wasn't getting a whole lot of like really good info about how I should be prepared. I did connect with one guy who was a recruiter in the area for a long time, who gave me got a little good advice from him. And so I try to do the same for people as well. But so you know what? It's been great talking to you. I just, I really enjoy hearing all these stories about how people start out in these like completely seemingly unrelated fields. Like I thought,
Mhm.
music, unrelated. Not really, not really, not how you
Mhm.
framed it. That was pretty cool. Um, but are you? Do you have anything that you're involved in, like outside? It could be outside of work, that you're passionate about. You still like teaching lessons or anything like that?
No, I mean, what am I? I mean, I'm just trying to. I mean, I'm really just a family man, so any kind of
Yeah.
thing we can kind of conjure up to have fun with the kids, trying to create memories. That's like I look at back at my childhood, and I'm like, man, I remember my mom taking me to soccer every Saturday, and it was so much fun and whatnot. And we would go and get Whoppers after.
Man,
But
that's
lots of reading. I
yeah.
like a lot of theological books.
Okay.
I actually read a lot. And then another book about kind of me understanding a little bit of Mississippi culture is being an outsider. Is you probably read this too and probably get a kick out of it. It's called Dispatches to Pluto, and it's this
Dispatches to Pluto. I gotta write that down. Yeah.
yeah, but it's about a guy that from the UK and lives in New York and moves to the Delta and just kind of like I mean he's writing experiences out. I'm like I've literally like had this experience, and he's talking about. I mean it was literally the same experience. He's so he moves to the Delta and he goes to a DMV to do all
Oh no,
his paperwork registration or whatever.
I'm afraid.
And the DMV is the forms he's filling out is photocopies of photocopies of
Ah.
like of a governmental form. It's
Oh yeah.
just like an address change. It's just like this janky thing. And I literally had that same experience when I did at a different DMV in Mississippi. I was like,
Yep.
my gosh, this guy just speaks to my soul of
Yeah.
Mississippi
Man,
culture.
I think the thing that like I couldn't get used to when I first got here, everywhere that I've ever been, everywhere that I've ever lived, you got your license and like you could do like your registration and stuff all in the same place. But here you get your license. I got my license in a little shack in Kill,
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had to go down to the Harrison County courthouse to go get my
Tag.
car registered. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this? It's not in the same place. They're like, no, you can't do that in the same place. I'm like, I see that. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yes, and the
I had the
photocopy
same
of
thing.
photocopy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
But
funny.
yeah, reading is what I do a lot now. I enjoy lots of literature.
Yeah. Well, you know that the family man part, that's very important. I speaking from experience, being in the military 20 years, I was gone a lot. There were
Mm-hmm.
times where like my kids were little, then I was deploying a lot. And then when I stopped deploying, they're in high school. And it's like, oh, our relationships have changed, with each other. And so that was really hard. So yeah, kudos. Keep doing that. Keep doing the family thing. Take your kids to Ship Island.
Yeah, I will. I'm working on that.
Go see the blue or green water on the other side of Ship Island
Yeah.
because, like I said, on this side it's not green, but there's some good fishing over here. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, it was great having you on, man. I appreciate it. Finally you came on. It seems like this has been in the works for like a year and a half. I don't know. It was a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, finally, sheesh. But anyway, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and sharing a little bit of wisdom and to the folks out there. So anybody, if you're out there, if you're watching the show for the first time, if you're not connected to me, connect to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you if you're looking to change your career. If you're not looking to change your career and you're watching it, connect with me. I don't care. It would be great. Hey, we'll have fun. But anyway, this time of the year is crazy with like episodes. We had an episode like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Then I didn't have any episodes, and then like next week there's no episode. I think I want to look at my calendar, but I think the next time we have an episode is June 2nd, and the guest for that episode is Michael Free from Nashville Software School. Yeah,
I want to tune in that.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So everybody, you guys have a great week, couple weeks at least. And I'll see you on June 2. Jeremy, don't go anywhere. Stay on the call. We'll talk to you in the studio. But everybody else, peace.